In today's video, we're talking about genital warts, and more specifically, I'm giving you 5 signs you shouldn't ignore because they are literally life-saving. This is not about fear, it's about awareness, clarity, and knowing when your body is giving you information that deserves your attention. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Welcome to Mira's Health Hub, my channel. So if you're seeing me for the first time, my name is Mira, and please don't make it your last by subscribing. So let's get into today's video. Genital warts are caused by strains of the human papillomavirus, commonly known as HPV, particularly type 6 and 11. They are usually transmitted through skin-to-skin sexual contact. The key detail many people miss is that HPV can stay silent in the body for months or even longer and before any visible changes appear. So when symptoms do show up, they can feel confusing as they are mostly delayed. And that's why I advise that if you're single, abstinence is the best, and if you're married, maintaining one partner will do you a lot of good because the grass ain't greener outside. In fact, it's a total desert outside, and if you're already copulating, which I'm not judging you for but low-key judging you, you should learn to protect yourselves because you can't be mating around without protection. So to the first sign of genital warts on my list is appearance of bumps or growths around the genitalia. These may look like tiny bumps, sometimes fleshly colored or slightly darker, and they can appear in singles or in clusters. Some people describe them as having a cauliflower-like surface, especially when they begin to multiply. What makes this tricky is that they are often painless at first. No burning, no discomfort, just a change in texture and appearance. And because of this, many people ignore them or assume they are harmless skin tags or irritation that would go away. But persistent spreading bumps in that area should always be assessed, especially if they change over time. Any new growth in the genital area that doesn't resolve within a short period should not be self-diagnosed. That's your first signal to get it checked by your doctor. The second on this list is itching or irritation that doesn't match any obvious cause. Mild itching in your intimate areas can happen for so many reasons, such as sweat, friction, shaving, or a mild skin infection. But with genital warts, the itching tends to be persistent or recurring in the same spots. It may feel like a low-grade irritation that keeps coming back when you change soaps, clothing, or hygiene habits. In some cases, it's not just itching, but a subtle discomfort like something is there even when nothing obvious is felt initially. This sensation often correlates with early growth phase of warts before they become visibly prominent. The important thing here is pattern recognition. Occasional itching can happen, but persistent, localized, unexplained irritation is not something to dismiss. Now to the third sign, and this one often causes confusion. You may notice changes in skin texture in the genital area. The skin might feel slightly raised, uneven, or rough in places where it used to be smooth. Sometimes the changes are so subtle that they are discovered accidentally during bathing or shaving. Unlike acne or ingrown hairs, these texture changes do not usually form a clear pimple head, nor do they resolve on their own quickly. Instead, they tend to slowly evolve over time. This is where many people delay care because it doesn't look serious. But note that genital warts often begin as a subtle textural change before becoming more visible lesions. And if something is gradually changing and progressing rather than healing, it deserves evaluation. The fourth sign is spread or clustering of lesions over time. A single bump may not tell you much on its own, but genital warts often have a pattern of growth. They may start very little and then multiply or cluster up in nearby areas. This can happen due to local viral activity on the skin's surface. Some individuals notice that what started as one small tiny bump later became several, sometimes forming small groupings that resembles a cluster or a patch. At this stage, it's common for anxiety to increase because visibility becomes harder to ignore. But clinically, this is actually the point where early treatment is the most effective. Intervening early reduces spread, reduces discomfort, and helps manage recurrences. So if you notice any growth around your genitalia, Get it assessed immediately rather than wait. Now to the fifth sign that often surprises a lot of people. It is bleeding or discomfort during friction even without obvious injury. Now, genital warts are made up of delicate skin tissues. When they are irritated, whether through intercourse, shaving, or wearing of tight clothing, they can sometimes bleed lightly or even feel tender. With genital warts, intermittent sensitivity or minor bleeding is common. So if you notice discomforts that seem disproportionate to what caused it, or small spots of bleeding that are unexplained, it's worth getting examined immediately. Genital warts is not diagnosed by one symptom alone. It's identified by patterns such as persistent bumps, slow progression, textural changes, irritation, cluster forming of the bumps, and sometimes sensitivity. Treatment options for HPV include topical treatment, cryotherapy, and other minor procedures depending on severity and location. If you notice any of these signs I've spoke about, early evaluation matters because it reduces spreads and prevents complications. So if something feels unfamiliar in your body, the most grounded step to take is to get it checked. And if it requires treatment, you treat immediately. So quickly before we go, your body communicates through changes. Not every change is dangerous, okay, but persistent or evolving change deserves your attention, especially in areas that are often hidden or ignored. If this topic brought up concern, that's understandable, but clarity is always more helpful than uncertainty. A proper evaluation replaces guessing with answers, and that alone reduces a lot of stress for you as a human being. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to my channel, like and share my content, and I'll see you in the next video. Until then, bye.